I think we did a little bit of optimization before with I think Gary's projects, where he had a bunch of extra tools here. And I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, these aren't too bad. I'm not sure how you're creating these, but I mean, some of them are these here, and some of them are just appended. But let's say we want to clear these out or clean this file out. I think it's probably better just to save this as a tool first, and we'll call it. Call it clean. I'll just reinitialize ZBrush. Basically, make a new scene. I'll change material, and then I'll load that tool. Well, that knocked out 200 or so megs. So that's a start. Alright, so what are your Dynamesh settings at?
They were pretty high for the face, and then I kept it kind of high for the rest of the stuff, like a fool. Like a fool.
Well, you can always just re-Dynamesh it later.
Yeah.
At this point, and that'll get your file size down. Was there a reason why you were modeling in pose?
In pose?
Yeah.
No, there was no reason, no. I mean, I just liked it, I guess, because I had a what's it face? I had like a Z-sphere like armature thing that I kind of liked because I was messing around with it, and I just kind of did that, I guess.
Okay.
That's gonna make it for anatomy harder.
I mean, it's fun to do. I shouldn't say that because I've never done anything in pose because that's like kind of anti-production. I can see the appeal to it, but I mean, you're just exploring now, so I think that's fine. But I think as far as when you start building your final mesh, you probably want to do it in like a neutral T-pose kind of thing, and we'll go over posing later. But I guess let's see. So actually, I was going to introduce this a little later today, but this is kind of a good introduction right now. So if I go to the Z plugin, let's talk about Transpose Master here. Alright, Transpose Master. So as you can see, you have a lot of subtools, right? And it can get kind of cumbersome going in and fixing one of these one by one and then moving this stuff around, right? And if you want to influence like all the objects, you could conceivably go within the universal gizmo and then turn on all groups, and then you can do crazy things like you can mask things out that you don't want to move. But the problem is that you have to do it on per sub tool, right? So that's also a cumbersome workflow. So Transpose Master. This is the official way to manipulate several subtools at once, and basically how to pose in ZBrush. So if I go and hit T-pose mesh, it will look at all the visible subtools, and it will consolidate it into basically one dummy file. The downside to this workflow right now is that you don't have any subdivision levels. Well, let's just see what it does at this resolution, and if it goes too slow, then I'll work on that later. So it's gonna go through all of these subtools. Just letting it go. Alright, so it says it's complete. And so you see in your tool palette here, you've got a brand new subtool. And basically you can do everything. You can use every brush. It'll affect this is actually pretty slow. So maybe what I will do. Yeah, this might be a little too slow. Like, just to, as an example, let me turn this on. Oops. Yeah, so this is like the quick and dirty way, quick and dirty introduction to posing, but this is useful for things outside of posing, right? Oh, can someone dim the lights? I think this is probably too bright for the class. Alright, cool. Thank you. So I'm going to go back and say T pose sub T. This is basically kicking it out of the transpose. And for now, let's just like lower the resolution just so this is a little easier. So it's going to go through the entire process of comparing your original subtools and the new one. But since we didn't do anything, it should be pretty quick. So, let's go ahead and look at the Dynamesh settings, and I'm going to try and, this is like 128 everything. Oh wait, is there a duplicate?
Yeah, there are only two subtools stacked on top of each other that I found when I was going through and re-optimizing it.
Okay. Bear with me while I optimize this. Okay, this should be a lot easier. So let's try that again. Let's go up and T-pose mesh. And the handy thing is it has everything in polygroups already for you. So this is to help facilitate the process. So, let's see. I know you were going for like a gorilla.
Yeah.
I'm using move topological here, so I don't interrupt the other subtools.
Yeah.
And then, but I think to get that, let's see. Okay, so yeah, so symmetry works too. I just need to turn it off and on. I'd really like you to get that upper torso.
Like bigger or?
Yeah, I think it was looking a little too small, or it could be part of the pose as well. I feel like the masses on top might be a little much.
Yeah. You think like adding like more of an arch there, kind of like on a gorilla?
Yeah, just to kind of sell the idea a little bit better, right?
Yeah. I get that.
All right. There you go. I think the proportions are pretty cool, but maybe to start emphasizing the gorilla part, it would help the readability if all of this, if like the pelvic girdle and then the legs as well reflected some of that, like primate's lower body anatomy.
Yeah.
Let's even out his butt, so not have too lopsided.
Yeah.
Butts are very important. And the useful thing with this is not just being able to work on everything in one subtool, but I can blur this, I can draw this out. Like if I needed to make global adjustments, I can. Like if I wanted to make them a little bit more upright.
Yeah.
Usually though, when you do this, you want to have a more finalized mesh.
Yeah.
Like finalized in the sense that you've Z-remeshed it, it has subdivision levels on it, because as you can see, working in Transpose Master, it's supposed to kick you down to the lowest subdivision level, because it's a lot easier to manipulate several subtools when they're all low res, and it's also easier to pose something that has less geometry on it, because like if you look at what I'm doing here, I'm trying to build a mask, it's really not doing a whole lot. Do you need to move up? Not necessarily, but maybe for the sake of trying to sell that gorilla aspect, I think so. So basically, what am I going to do here? I'm going to hide his head. Oops. I'm going to mask this, and then I'll invert that, just so I can operate with just the head, right?
Yeah.
I think this forward head posture is really suggesting a really long, like he's got a few more cervical vertebrae than a typical primate would. So I think I'm going to move this up here, tuck it closer in, and I think that will help with the ape-like look.
Definitely.
And then even from here, maybe I will go ahead and see. So like this masking gets kind of messy, right? But then that's the good thing about these subtools, or the polygroups is I can. So I wanted to get rid of this from the selection. I just fill that. I invert that mask. I get out of my polygroups, and now that arm's clear, right? So let's do that again. Let's say masking this will take too long, so I'll just Control-Shift-Click, isolate that. I will just mask everything, invert it, clear the mask, Control-Shift-Click, and then I'm back to here. So I'm gonna go and I guess I could also just change the focus shift and then the masking intensity to kind of play at this, but I want to make him a little bit more upright. And right now, it looks like just where his shoulders are in relation to the head is almost like let's see. They just feel really close. I should probably pull up some reference images here. Yeah, I think we could go with putting these a little further away, or moving these further from the body, right? For now, I want to isolate the arms, or hide the arms, and I'm going to look at the body as a whole.
Yeah.
So I was
it
like,
was very bear inspired for a long time, the anatomy for the body.
So I'm looking at this in kind of an anatomical isolation here. I'm not sure. I'm assuming it's like scapula or something, but I would rather treat that as like a secondary mass, and just worry about the rib cage for now. And then if I select that, or I mask everything, and then I show the rest of my polygroups. Let's see, I can go ahead and mask that. I can move this out, just to kind of relax the pose a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe even pulling it down. Thinking about where would the arm like logically connect here, and making sure that the deltoid isn't getting too far away. That, and then I'll do the same thing here. Let's see. Just some quick notes here on. I wouldn't want to get the bicep going too far out. Cause it should be like a longer muscle than it is like a tall muscle.
Yeah.
And then the triceps would be, you would get most of your defining, or a lot of the defining arm mass is actually from the triceps. So there's a little bit of that. I'm curious how you are going to develop the hands, because you went from really large elbow shape to like really small wrist. I was actually expecting it to be the opposite, like having like a larger hand knuckle mass, but I'll leave that for you to decide and to explore.
Yeah. I think I might explore it with a larger knuckles.
I think that would help sell the
Yeah.
gorilla look more.
Yeah.
Right, so let's see. So you got this. feel like the head could be a little big. Let's see. I'll leave that for you to decide. But that's like the big rough changes that I would do. Let's kick this out here. I know I haven't talked much, if at all, about the transpose line. Transpose line is a lot easier and quicker for me to do these rotations than the gizmo. I'll try and talk a little bit more about those two later today.
And do you want me to do a T-pose version of this, or do you want me to keep working on pose?
Well, I think it'll be easier for you if you did it in T-pose because you can use symmetry.
For sure.
But if you don't want to, like, I'm not gonna make you, but you know, having symmetry is nice.
Yeah.
So, did your thing crash?
It's still going. I think it's just because it's a pretty dense mesh.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Oh no, it's fine. Like, I think in this exploration stage, it's not so bad. Okay, there it goes. Yeah, so now it's moving each piece according to how that individual polygroup was manipulated, and here is the result.